Today's episode, the powerful food chain. The food chain is a sequence that shows who feeds on whom to satisfy their hunger. Who feeds on whom? That's right. Each species plays a role. The one that produces the food is called the producer, and the one that consumes it is called the consumer, classified as primary, secondary, and tertiary. Too complicated? I'll explain a bit about each one. The producers are plants and algae that produce their own food through the famous photosynthesis using sunlight. Primary consumers are herbivorous animals that feed on plants and omnivorous animals that feed on plants and animals. Secondary consumers are carnivorous animals that feed on herbivores or omnivores, and tertiary consumers are carnivorous animals that feed on the meat of other carnivorous animals. So we have an order: producer, primary consumer, secondary consumer, tertiary consumer, but it doesn't end there. When consumers die or parts of living beings are eliminated from the environment, such as fruit, leaves, and twigs, we have the last link in the food chain. Decomposer microorganisms, which are represented by the majority of bacteria and fungi. These creatures can be found in the soil, air, or water, and their main function is to decompose dying producers and consumers. As a result of this decomposition, these beings do a kind of cleaning in nature, reabsorbing dead matter and releasing substances that fertilize the soil, giving rise to more plants. Very interesting, isn't it? Food chains keep ecosystems in perfect balance and can be aquatic or terrestrial. In terrestrial food chains, the plant produces its own food and will be the food of the grasshopper, which will be the bird's lunch, which will be devoured by the ocelot, which will be decomposed after being killed by fungi and bacteria. In the aquatic food chains, the algae produce their own food and will be the food of the krill, which will be devoured by the small fish, which will be the dinner of the tuna, which will serve as food for the shark, which once dead will be decomposed by fungi and bacteria. Ooh, can you understand that? It's complicated, but it's what maintains our ecosystem.